whatever you want, you got to commit all the way in and think in terms of domination, not a spectator. You don't want to be a spectator, folks. Spectators pay, players get paid. What I want to talk to you today about is like, how do you get to that next level? My whole life, whether I was doing well or doing very poorly, which I have, I've always wanted to know, how do I get to that next place? Okay, how do I get myself individually, as an individual, to that next place? How do I get my business to the next place? How do I get other people to the next place? So when Alex says that he stole my guy, it's true, he did. And I admire him for being a predator. Today, what I want to talk to you about is how to dominate and not compete. The truth is, the fact that Alex could take one of my guys doesn't make him a bad guy. It makes my system weak. I shouldn't resent him because he grabbed somebody out of my organization. Hoorah for him. Would you agree? Shame on me for not having the holes or the links tight enough on my organization that this guy wouldn't leave me. It's not his fault, it's not Alex's fault, it's my fault. So look, in my life, what I'm gonna give you for the next 50 or 60 minutes, look, if you wanna get rich, you wanna be really successful. When I say rich, I'm not talking about money, I'm talking about a rich life, freedom, time with family, choices, get to do what you want. You get to move where you want, go where you want, do what you want. I've lived in Los Angeles, California for 10 years. I was in La Jolla, California for 12 years before that. I left Texas, 0% state income tax, to move to California, was willing to pay the 10.3. I was fine with the 10.3. Now they want to take it to 13. And I told Jerry Brown, if you raise it to 13, I'm leaving. I'm going to pick up my family. I'm going to pick up my business. Why? Because I'm free. I'm free. I get to roll, baby. I get to do what I want, go where I want. That's why I'm in business for myself. I'm not trapped. I'm not a slave. You're not going to handcuff me. So I'm going to go where it's friendly, where people are supportive, where it's good for me and my business and my family and the people that work with me, and where it's good for me. And I would expect that that's why you got in business for yourself, right? Look, if you want to be in business for yourself and free, you must learn to dominate. You cannot compete, okay? How many were trained this? Competition is a healthy thing. That message was not being delivered to entrepreneurs. That message was being delivered to consumers. There was somebody saying, look, the more oil companies we have, the better, because it's good for the customer, right? The more technology companies we have, it's not just Microsoft, the better for the customer. And inventions and improvements in products comes from competition. But if you're the one playing the game, you want to dominate the field. Would you agree? Let's say I'm playing a football game or a basketball game or a baseball game. I want to be on offense the whole time. Right? If I owned banks, I'd want to own every bank. I'd want the new world order. I'd want to dominate planet Earth, okay? How many of you in the room have an iPhone? How many in the room have a phone that looks like, let me see, where's mine at? I never let go of my phone, ever. You know why? Because this phone is a prospecting tool. This phone is a way for me to stay in communication with millions of people. This is not a phone anymore, right? When Steve Jobs got into the business of printing phones, do you know what his company told him? Stevie, don't do it. Do not do it. Stay with your iPods, bro. Leave the phone alone. Okay? He's like, I'm gonna make a phone so sexy. Y'all know this story? I'm gonna make a phone so sexy that people will wanna lick the buttons off the phone. How many of you have an Apple product, an iPhone? How many of you have licked your phone? Okay? Most of you in a room bought that phone in the last 5 years. You bought it through the single worst contraction in the history of the United States, and you spent $500 on it, plus the $125 you spend every month, right? You got about $2,000 wrapped up in a phone, and you haven't even considered what you paid for that phone. And you don't use it. You don't use it properly. And I'm telling you, if you don't have a piece of technology like this, it's impossible for you to dominate. Impossible. This is called a smartphone. If you don't have a smartphone, what kind of phone do you have? That would be a dumb phone, right? I got a dumb phone. I got one of those old Blackberries. All I can do is email with it. Dude, you want this thing to do everything. You want this thing. I want to be everywhere, all at the same time. That's freedom. Okay? So look, I want to talk to you about domination, not competition. And I don't want to talk about you dominating other people physically. I want to talk about dominating space by using things like Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and Google Plus and blogging and becoming an expert in your field to where when somebody thinks about your business, your picture comes up. If that's not happening, you are going to blame the marketplace. The marketplace will deliver pain to the people that compete. Why? Because they're all competing. And then there's this one guy way out in the lead. He doesn't compete, right? That's where you want to be. That's how you have to think now. Okay, you're in a new economy. How many believe this economy, the one you're in right now, is extremely fragile, filled with tremendous amounts of uncertainty? How many agree with that? Okay? How many agree also, come 2013 when this election gets handled, whether it's Mitt or whether it's Mr. Barack Obama, whoever it is, okay, how many believe they got their hands full? Dude, we haven't even solved the debt problem yet, okay? You think this thing couldn't roll over again? I'm here to tell you it can. And you know who's gonna feel the pain? The people that compete. Who will cherish that moment? Are the people that dominate space. Why? Because people that dominate like contractions. People that are extremely well-versed, well-trained. You know, if I'm training for a ball game, right, I'm the best trained team, I like a muddy field. I like it wet. I like the ice on the field. Would you agree? Because my competition is not as well-trained. I want to dominate space. I actually look for opportunities of contraction. Trust me, folks, in your lifetime, you're going to see another contraction more severe than the one you saw in 2007. More severe. Does that scare you? It scares me. It scares me enough to say, hey, buddy, you better get busy. I was 51 years old when Lehman's collapsed, okay? Let me see, is that right? No, I was 49 years old when Lehman's collapsed. I had never written a book in my life. It was on Thursday afternoon. It had been made clear that Bear Stearns and Lehman's were done. Okay, on that day, I started writing a book. By Sunday, I was finished with this book. I wrote the chapters between Thursday and Saturday. Okay, on Sunday, I started writing the book. In 3 hours, it was finished. This book is about, on that day, I wrote, all people on planet Earth became salespeople when Lehman's collapsed because money wasn't available anymore. Who did well? How many people just got wiped out of real estate? The pretenders did. Right? The guy that was at Pizza Hut and now he got in the mortgage business, he can't make 700 grand anymore, can he? Truth is, he never deserved the 700. See, the marketplace will always discipline people that aren't prepared. Success loves preparation. It loves it. It admires it. It just flows money back to it. Success loves preparation. And the marketplace will discipline those that are just stuck in the pack. So today I'm not going to talk to you about dominating your market or even dominating your competition, but I want to start thinking about how are you dominating yourself? Like, what do you think the number one thing that most of us have our attention on every day? And one of the things that makes these conferences so beautiful is you get pulled out of some of that noise out there. Would you agree? Who do you think your number one competition, number one problem in real estate today is? Yourself? Okay, who else? Who else could it be? Say again? Absolutely the people around you. Anytime I have production stall in any of my companies, the first thing I look at, I don't look for talent. I look to get rid of people. First thing I do every time, who can I get rid of? I'm looking for somebody to freaking kill. I need to get rid of somebody. You know why? Because I push with so much force into my universe, into my businesses, whether it's buying real estate, apartments, whether it's pushing rents up, whether it's doing my seminar business, my book business. I push so hard that if I'm not getting results all the time, somebody has to be pushing back. Somebody in my organization actually has to have the intention, conscious or unconscious, to hold me up. The first thing I'm gonna do is start getting rid of people. Okay, who is it? Who is it? I'm looking for the cancer in my organization. You know, you talk about people dying from disease. Look, people die from negativity every day. They just got to wait 80 years to make it official. How many of you know negative people? How many in the room have been negative before? You have been negative. You know why? Because the number one dominating force on planet Earth is the media. It's the media. The media, 800 TV channels spew negativity onto the American public and every other country on planet Earth. They just puke it on you. Oh, but I watch Fox. Good. They puke at Fox and they do at MSNBC. It's just you're in agreement with the puke. I got some conservative puke. I got some liberal puke. Right? And you got Stossel in the middle. He's like, okay, I'm just an independent puker. Dude, puke is puke. Would you agree? Just because you got used to it. Oh, I like O'Reilly's puke. I like Hannity's puke. I use every one of the news channels. If you'll see me on TV doing news one day, okay? I don't watch news. I make news. See the shift? You see the slight shift? Don't watch the news. Decide when you leave here today to make the news. Right? You don't read the newspaper, you write newspaper articles. You don't read books. Yeah, read them, but learn to write them. And you don't need to you don't need to spend a lifetime writing a book. This was 3 hours. Okay, we sold 40,000 copies of this one book and it was self-published. It's never, ever, ever been in a bookstore. A guy writes me, says, man, you got misspelled words all in that book. I'm like, yeah? So what, where are they? 123, 128, 134, 165, 120. I'm like, yeah. And bad grammar too. I'm like, yeah, what's your point, dude? Because man, you got misspelled words in a book. It's a bestseller, bitch. The word bitch, look it up in the dictionary, means a complainer, a whiner, an excuse maker. I wear a little band on my pin here, on my wrist here. It's a little black band, and it says, champions dominate. And on the other side, don't be a little bitch. That's right.